Apologies for that. Good morning, everyone. Let's wait for my presentation. So anyway, I think I'll start. I know my presentation. So good morning, everyone. I'm Matteo Zimonti from HydrogenEurope, and I today will present some boring stuff on policy, on what's happening at European level in Brussels. For those who do not know us, HydrogenEurope is the European association covering the whole hydrogen value chain. So we do have more than 400 members, and should be interested in joining us, please reach out to us and contact me. And by the way, I'm responsible for the whole policy works on land transport, and especially commercial road transport. That said, I think we can move to the, yes, this is my very lame pitch. And I think we can start with a bit of a context on what's happening on the European arena. What you see here is a sum up of the mandatory supply targets that are being set under the Renewable Energy Directive that is currently under discussion in Brussels. You see there are dedicated supply targets for the transport sector as well, meaning that the European industry will have to supply a certain amount of RFMBOs in Europe by 2030 on a yearly basis. Now, there's no decision on the file yet. They're still discussing whether it's going to be 2.6, 5, 5.7 binding, not binding. But the point there is that there will be a a minimum supply of RFMBOs by 2030. In combination with the Repower EU, which has been proposed in the context of the war in Ukraine, the European Commission wanted to set the bar even higher and go beyond what was proposed by the Commission itself under the Renewable Energy Directive. So what you see here is a very short calculation we made of taking, for example, the 5% target in transport. What does that mean? It's going to equal more or less to 4.2 million tons of RFMBOs by 2030. And if we take out the mandatory targets that are set in aviation and maritime files, which are, again, currently under discussion, but they are pretty much set, we're going to end up with an oversupply of RFMBOs for the road transport sector. So this whole light green bar is essentially what will be left unused on a yearly basis by the road transport sector if they maintain the level of ambition they have today. So again, dark blue is the European Commission target for AFIR. Light blue. Dark blue is the European Parliament, and dark green is Industry Association, so essentially us. Everything else would be RFMBOs that will not be used because we essentially do not have an appropriate infrastructure development in the road transport sector. So this is the context, and this is why we have, I think we have to maintain a high level of ambition when it comes to deployment of hydrogen refilling station. We signed a letter with ACEA, which is the association representing the automotive industry in Brussels, in which we estimate that there will be 50,000 trucks, hydrogen trucks, in operation in Europe by the end of the decade, which is ambitious, but this is based on what we know in terms of market announcement and OEM's plans. With the current council position, which we'll come to in a minute, as you see, the network will not be able to refuel more than 80,000 trucks every day, which is completely insufficient and, in short, a total waste of money. We come to the core of my presentation here. This is the calculations we made based on the targets set out in AFIR under the three positions. So you already heard it from Valerie. Essentially, the institutions have three different views on what AFIR should look like. So the European Parliament says a refueling station every 100 kilometers with at least a 700 bar dispenser on the whole TEN-T core and comprehensive network by 27, with liquid hydrogen every 450 kilometers and at least 2 hydrogen refilling stations per urban node, which is essentially one refilling station per urban node, which is essentially what we called for. We just called for one hydrogen filling station more in each urban node, which is why you basically see here that the numbers from what we think and what the European Parliament thinks are essentially the same. The European Commission goes for 150 kilometers by 2030, and the European Council, which is the very big problem here, they said one refilling station every 200 kilometers on the core network only by 2030, with no refilling station in urban nodes. This is a problem, because obviously this is not gonna be enough for the industry to switch from diesel-powered trucks to hydrogen trucks. And this, again, is a waste of money. And again, it's not going to be enough. My point here is that considering the current geopolitical situations, having two infrastructures, so from the one side, electric infrastructure, electric recharging points, along with developed network of hydrogen refilling station, helps Europe having, let's say, less reliance on Russia, less reliance on external events, more energetic independence, meaning that we are entering a world where we will have curtailment. So having two separate networks helps citizens, helps member states protecting themselves against these kind of events. And again, having two different networks helps member states reach their reduction targets, which are set under the European Green Deal. So we are talking about, you were really talking about complementarity here. It's not about one against the other, but the two that are working together to speed up the decarbonization of European commercial road transport, especially. We funded a study from the Clean Hydrogen Partnership, where basically they estimate that 100% battery electric infrastructure for road transport will cost from 3 to 5 trillion euros more. So this is that's a lot of money, actually. So to put it in visual terms, this is what we estimate. So having a combined scenario, so again, the development of two parallel infrastructure helped mitigating the costs at the advantage of consumers. Because when you have multiple choices for one business case, you get to have lower cost and more choice. So I'll let you take a picture of this before I change slide. Very good. And again, this is kind of the trend we are seeing, not just in Europe, but in in the United States as well. You see here on the left, that's an article from the Hydrogen Council. On the right, a screenshot taken from an article from Bloomberg in, I think it was back in November, where they're essentially saying the same thing. 100% electric scenario would require so much electricity that in 2035, a single truck stop will require as much energy as a small town in the US. Again, this is not something we are capable to deal with at the moment, and it's very unlikely to have this happening in the future. So again, my point is, again, we need complementarity. We need to have both infrastructure because we cannot manage this level of energy requirement. We're coming to the sensitive part. We come to the part where we talk about money, because we always get the impression that member states do not want to engage in this kind of transition because of money, because they say, we have no money, there's no money available, we do not want to commit to that. This is not true. There's a lot of money that is available still. You see just some examples here. And the problem here is that most of that money hasn't been used yet. So member states are saying we don't have any money, but still they're not asking for money, which is available under different programs and plans, and that they can make use of it because most of that money is directed to green projects, and decarbonizing road transport fully falls into this category. So it's not just EU funding, it's also private funding, but also we have financing opportunities at national level. So again, there's a lot of opportunities that member states are not taking. And here I come to my last point. Shift happens, but shift happens because everyone's involvement. It's not because Hydrogen Europe asks for high ambition on targets that the European institution will eventually come out with ambitious target. We need you companies that are operating, that are working on hydrogen mobility to come out and defend essentially your business case, your business opportunities. We need you to be vocal with your respective member states. So my invitation to you today is to go out to respective member states. And I guess for most of you it's France, but I guess also some of you have branches in other member states. Be vocal, ask for more ambition, because otherwise there's no way we can achieve this transition and make hydrogen commercial road transport happening in the future. That is it. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm here for your questions, if any.